Halo, selamat pagi. Selamat datang dan ketemu lagi di Talk seri Sabtu yang diadain rutin setiap sebulan sekali. Kali ini bedanya kita ngadainnya, kayaknya nanti kita belum ya. Oke. Oke, jadi selamat datang untuk teman-teman yang sudah datang. Terima kasih sudah sempat waktu ataupun tadi sudah standby dari jam setengah 10 pagi. Sebelum kita mulai ke acara pada hari ini, yang kalian tahu, dari pertemuan-pertemuan sebelumnya kita sudah bahas banyak banget materi-materi seputar bahasa Inggris dan hari ini kita akan bahas seputar TOEFL di salah satu sectionnya yaitu structure expression bersama salah satu pembeda. Kami memastikan bahwa kalian sudah bisa mendengar dengan jelas suara pagi hari ini dan juga audio visualnya juga boleh dibantu dengan tampil semua kalian sudah mendengar dengan jelas bahwa suaranya sudah cukup clear terus tampilan di layar kalian juga cukup jelas silakan disampaikan di kolom chat box. Ini kayaknya ada sedikit feedback kalau suaranya terdengar sedikit kurang jelas. Mungkin bisa.
Suaranya masih teman-teman? Nah ini nggak bisa sambil dicas berarti. Bikin suara. Oke. Nah ini udah cukup jelas ya teman-teman ya. Anyway, maaf untuk gangguan teknisnya pagi hari ini. Kita langsung segera mulai aja. Kita mau ngucapin dulu untuk teman-teman semua yang berpuasa hari ini selamat menjalankan ibadah puasa. Semoga puasanya nanti lancar sampai 30 hari ke depan. Yang tidak mengikuti atau tidak berpuasa hari ini, nanti kita jam 3 siap-siap berburu takjil ya sama teman-teman yang lain, oke? But anyway, again, terima kasih kita mengucapin terima kasih banyak untuk teman-teman yang udah hadir. Pagi ini kita akan bahas seputar TOEFL tentang structure dan written expression. Seperti biasa, bahwa kegiatan hari ini kalian bisa dan boleh menyalakan kamera kalian untuk kegiatan lebih interaktif supaya kelasnya juga bisa lebih terasa lebih hidup lagi. Kita tahu siapa-siapa aja yang hadir. Oke, dan tanpa berlama-lama lagi kita langsung saja mulai karena sudah ada bersama kita secara online pembicara kita pagi hari ini. So please welcome Mr. Darren selaku Senior Teaching Manager dari IF Malang. Good morning, Mr. Darren.
Morning, Farid. Morning, everybody.
Okay, how are you, Darren?
I'm okay. A little bit throaty. I've got a slight sore throat, but I'm okay. But can you hear my voice all right?
Okay. Yap, I hear your voice clearly here. Teman-teman sudah bisa dengar jelas suara saya dan Mr. Darren? Oke, sambil nunggu komentar dari teman-teman kalau memang suaranya sudah cukup jelas, audio dan visualnya juga sudah cukup jelas. Kita perlu sampaikan bahwa materi yang akan disampaikan oleh Mr. Darren pagi hari ini akan full dalam bahasa Inggris. Jadi nanti teman-teman cukup catat aja poin-poin penting yang akan disampaikan oleh Mr. Darren. Karena jangan khawatir nanti di akhir acara kita akan kirimkan materi dan juga e-sertifikat melalui email aktifnya teman-teman. Jadi nanti kita akan kasih tahu caranya gimana untuk bisa ngedapetin materi dan juga e-sertifikat. Jadi cukup diperhatikan aja, tulis apa yang penting. Nanti aku akan kasih bantuan untuk bisa ngerangkum apa yang disampaikan sama Mr. Darren supaya kalian juga bisa memahami materinya dengan baik. Oke? So please, Mr. Darren.
Oh, okay, thank you. Let me just check I can share my screen. Okay, can everybody see that? Yeah, okay, good.
I think we can.
All right, let's get started, everybody. The first thing I want to look at is just the structure of the TOEFL test for anyone who hasn't done it before. There are 3 parts: listening, structure, and reading. And they're always done in that order, as far as I know. Listening first, then structure, then reading. But we're going to start with structure today. The listening part is 50 questions and takes 35 minutes. Structure is only 40 questions and is just 25 minutes, and reading is 50 questions in 55 minutes. So you can see that the structure and written expression section is the shortest, but you also have the least time for it. Okay. The test looks at lots of different things in English, lots of different grammar things, common things and uncommon. So when I'm talking about common things, I mean subjects and verbs, making sure each sentence has a subject and a verb, making sure that those subjects and verbs agree with each other, and then parts of speech, things like that. Are you using a noun instead of an adjective, that sort of thing. Then you've got slightly more complex forms like passive forms, comparatives, superlatives, and lots of other things like that. And it also looks at really odd grammar things like strange inversions and phrasal verbs. Please don't panic. We're not going to look at any of those today. Nothing uncommon for us today, because for the strange bits of grammar, you're only ever going to find 1 question, maybe 2 questions in the test. Whereas for the common ones, the ones in green, you'll find up to 10, 15 questions, which rely on you understanding these points. So that's all we're going to focus on today, basically subjects and verbs and agreement. And to start, excuse me, I keep getting pop-up boxes. To start, I'm just going to show you 1 or 2, how can I put this? Questions that might have come from a TOEFL test. These are not from the TOEFL test. They're little bits of advice for you. But you can use them like a TOEFL practice test and just tell me. All the way through today, we'll have questions which are multiple choice, A, B, C, or D. So when we do, feel free just to type your answer into the chat box. The first section of the structure and written expression is structure. It's 15 questions and it's all like this. Okay, you have a sentence with a gap, and then you have 4 choices to fill the gap. And that's all you do. You choose A, B, C, or D. Okay, so have a look, type in the chat box. What do you think? Oh, let me have a look.
Oke. Coba teman-teman ngejawab. Ini tadi seperti yang dijelaskan sama Mr. Darren, ini mungkin Darren, tapi karena bisa menggunakan soal-soal ini untuk latihan. Nantinya untuk structure ini nantinya akan ada 15 pertanyaan yang kurang lebih seperti ini. Contohnya ada fill in the gaps. Jadi di sini kalian cukup mengisi kira-kira yang hilang dari kalimat itu apa. Kalian perhatikan aja, nanti akan dibantu dijelaskan oleh Mr. Darren. Oke?
Okay, looking at everybody's answer, it looks like we have a really strong group because everybody, I think, has said C. Oh, we got an A there. Finally, a different answer. Good. The correct answer is C. Well done. The questions on the test are worth 1 point each. The issues with the other ones are basically you'll have too many subjects or too many verbs. If you just have the questions are on the test, you've got a verb for this subject, and then you've got this extra verb here. And if you use either B or D, you've got this extra they, which gets confusing as well. Well done. Almost everybody correct. Great start. There is then the second section, which is called written expression, and it's longer. And there are 25 questions for this one. And most students that I speak to say that they find this bit more difficult than the structure part. Basically, you have this sentence, there is an error, and there are 4 underlined sections. You need to decide which of these, A, B, C, or D, is incorrect. Now, my sentence here is a small amount of questions on the test may be answerable without reading the whole sentence. First of all, let's just answer it. What do you think? A, B, C, or D?
Oke, di bagian written expression sini kalian akan menemukan 25 pertanyaan, dan di bagian written expression ini rata-rata kalian akan diminta untuk menemukan kata-kata yang error dari kalimat yang perlu kalian baca. Jadi dari structure yang 15 pertanyaan, fill in the gaps, terus akhirnya pindah ke written expressions ada 25 pertanyaan. Di situ kalian perlu menemukan kira-kira kata yang salah dari struktur kalimat itu yang mana? A, B, C, or D.
Okay, looking at the answers, it's all a mix between A and D, which is very impressive. Well done. The correct answer is indeed A. All right. Amount shouldn't be working with questions because questions is countable. The correct answer would be a small number of questions on the test may be answerable without reading the whole sentence. I'm guessing if you put D, you felt it should be whole sentences or something like that because we're talking about more than one question, but it's the one sentence for each question, so it's fine. Excuse me, just checking your other answers. Okay, very good. Someone put S there, which I find fascinating. Oh, it's next to A, I see. When we look at this sentence, the reason I chose it is because a lot of online advice for TOEFL and some books, indeed the book that we use for our TOEFL preparation, includes as a tip the idea that you should just read the underlined parts before you read the sentence. So you just read amount, on, answerable, and whole sentence, because sometimes you can see immediately which part is wrong. I don't think this is a good idea. So we're going to have a little bit of practice and see if it works, and then we'll talk about whether it's a good idea or not. What I've got for you is 2 questions. Oh, sorry, Farid, do you want to
Ya,
translate for
please.
me?
Ini ada sedikit catatan ya dari Mr. Darren, teman-teman. Mungkin kalau misalnya teman-teman sempat baca artikel di website atau buku seputar tips mengenai TOEFL, tadi Mr. Darren sempat mention bahwa akan ada beberapa tips yang kalian temui ketika kalian mengerjakan soal tentang written expressions ini, yang kalian diminta untuk menemukan kata-kata yang error dalam kalimat. Kalian akan diminta untuk baca lebih dulu kalimat yang digarisbawahin untuk kalian pilih kira-kira mana yang salah. Itu mungkin menurut beberapa sumber akan berbicara bahwa cara tersebut adalah cara yang paling cepat untuk kalian bisa menemukan kata-kata yang salah. Tapi dari Mr. Darren sendiri tidak menyarankan itu. Ini nanti akan dibahas oleh Mr. Darren setelahnya. Kenapa akhirnya hal itu tidak disarankan untuk kalian lakukan. Jadi nanti kita akan tahu lebih lanjut terkait apa yang disampaikan oleh Mr. Darren. Back to you, Mr. Darren.
Okay, thank you, Farid. What we'll do, I will, show you some questions, or 2 questions. These are from genuine TOEFL tests, and I'm just showing you the underlined bits. So this would be like just reading the underlined parts and trying to decide if you can answer the question. This time, still the same as before. You can type A, B, C, or D. But if you think you can't tell the answer without reading the whole sentence, you can type wait. Okay. Farid, do you want to translate that?
Oke, kita akan coba saran dari yang mungkin ada dari beberapa sumber yang mengatakan bahwa kalian cukup membaca kata-kata yang di underline dari A, B, C, or D. Nah, sekarang kita coba. Menurut kalian, kalau misalnya kalian benar-benar bisa menemukan kata tersebut yang menurut kalian error dari susunan kalimat itu, silakan dijawab A, B, C, or D. Tapi kalau ternyata kalian masih perlu untuk menunggu sembari untuk nantinya akan ditampilkan keseluruhan kalimat oleh Mr. Darren, kalian boleh jawab wait. Tapi kalau misalkan kalian sudah yakin bahwa dengan membaca kata-kata yang sudah digarisbawahin A, B, C, or D itu kalian sudah bisa menemukan kata-kata yang error, silakan langsung jawab A, B, C, or D.
Okay. What we've got here is lots of C's and then now lots and lots of waits. Okay, it's 50-50 really between C's and wait. Okay, before I give you the answer, here's another one. Same deal, same thing. Just read them and decide if you can answer the question anyway. If you can, A, B, C, or D. If you want the whole sentence, just type wait.
Oke, kita coba 2 pertanyaan ya. Jadi cukup membaca kata-kata yang digarisbawahin A, B, C, or D. Apakah benar tips yang sering kali muncul di website atau di beberapa buku tips centric tentang TOEFL itu bahwa kalian benar-benar bisa menjawab kata-kata dengan yang digarisbawahin saja tanpa membaca whole sentences itu benar-benar bisa menjawab atau enggak?
Okay. Seems about the same. We've got about 50% of people saying wait and 50% of people answering. And most of the people answering are saying A. Now we'll take a look at the whole sentence. So if we look at the top one, in about 1920, experimental psychologists have devoted more research to learning than to any other topic. Now that you've read that whole sentence, see if you want to change your answer or stick with your same answer. Most people were saying C at the beginning. Sticking with C or changing?
Oke. Back to first questions ini kalau misalkan kalian udah ngelihat full sentences-nya kayak apa, apakah kalian mau mengganti jawabannya kalian atau tetap ada di C?
And now we've got
Change
lots
to
of
A.
A's, some change to A. Wow, I have to say I'm very impressed with you guys. Well done. Because this is quite a difficult question anyway. The problem is A, because we've got the present perfect, have devoted more research to learning. 1920 is finished, so we cannot use the present perfect with that. So you'd need to change in to the word since. The point I'm trying to make here is that when you just look at the underlined parts, I don't blame you for putting C as wrong, because to learning looks really weird, because we're used to seeing the infinitive, which is to plus verb one. Go on, Farid, you can try and translate that if you want.
Oke, pokoknya Mr. Darren tidak menyalahkan kalian kalau misalnya kalian benar-benar cuman pengen ngelihat atau biar kelihatan lebih cepat aja yang ngerjainnya ya. Jadi kalian cuman pengen, ya udahlah aku cuman akan baca jawaban-jawaban yang memang menurutku itu salah, dan menurut Mr. Darren kalian tidak terlihat salah kalau ternyata kalian itu memilih C, to learning, karena kalau misalnya kalian tahu untuk to itu biasanya kan dengan verb one nggak pakai ing gitu, makanya kalian milihnya itu. Tapi ketika kalian tahu ketika kalimatnya muncul semua, kira ketahuan deh jawabannya itu A, di mana ini tuh kalian harus ganti menggunakan since atau 1920. Oke, back to you Mr.
Thank
Darren.
you. And what most of you noticed is that there are some phrases in English which do use to plus the present participle or verb ing, and devoting something is one of those, devoting research or devoting time to verb ing. So by reading the full sentence, you realize that the answer is A. But just looking at the underlined parts, a lot of people are going to think, oh, C is definitely wrong, so we don't need to read the sentence, and that would be a mistake. If we look at the second one with the full sentence, social stratification can be based on many criteria, such as wealth, cultural level, legal status, birth, personal qualities, and ideology. Here, only type in the chat box. If you said wait, you can type your answer. And if you want to change, I guess you can type your answer again. Good, absolutely. And everyone now is saying A or still A. If you put A at the beginning, you were absolutely right. Can based, I honestly can't imagine an English sentence where that could be correct. So you can look at that and go, A is wrong. Okay, so for this question, it does work if you just read the underlined parts. However, I looked through a lot of TOEFL tests to prepare for this workshop, and it's a small number, a really small number of questions that you can safely do that with. And the point is, if you're reading the underlined parts and then reading the whole sentence and then choosing your answer, I don't think that saves any time at all. I think it can take more time. And also, if you just read the underlined parts and think you have the answer and then find out that you don't, like the top one here, then you're going to be losing marks. So my most important tip for today really is don't listen to those tips that tell you only read the underlined parts first. Read the whole sentence first. Okay?
Oke. Di beberapa kasus, Mr. Darren sempat bilang bahwa ketika Mr. Darren ngelihat keseluruhan soal TOEFL, bahwa kalau misalnya kalian ngelihat soal yang kedua itu, ya kalian bisa ngelakuin bahwa kalian bisa ngebaca jawabannya aja, pilihan jawabannya aja A, B, C, atau D. Tapi kemungkinannya sangat kecil bahwa hal itu bisa kalian lakukan di semua pertanyaan yang akan muncul nantinya. Jadi daripada kalau ternyata alasannya dengan kalian membaca atau tips yang diberikan oleh beberapa orang di artikel atau di buku yang mereka buat dengan menghemat waktu kalian untuk mengerjakan tes TOEFL, ketika kalian membaca kata-kata yang digarisbawahin saja atau jawabannya doang, kalian akan tetap mengulang untuk membaca kalimatnya secara penuh. Dan itu tidak akan menghemat waktu kalian, malah akan makan banyak waktu kalian untuk mengerjakan satu soal. Karena kalian harus baca lagi kalimatnya secara lengkap, baru kalian bisa pilih gitu. Jadi yang disarankan sama Mister Darren adalah karena memang sebelum disiapkan workshop ini itu udah benar-benar diteliti, daripada kalian harus baca ulang kalimatnya dengan membaca pilihan jawabannya dulu, better kalian sudah langsung baca aja keseluruhan kalimatnya supaya kalian benar-benar yakin jawaban mana yang memang menurut kalian benar. Oke? Back to you, Mr. Darren.
Okay, thank you. So that's my main tip for the structure section. Now we're going to get a little bit into the grammary stuff. First of all, we're going to look at verbs. So I've got 4 sentences for you, and we'll go through them each time. And all I want you to do is look at the sentence and type what the main verb for that sentence is into the chat box. So remember, all you do, read the sentence, decide what the verb is, and just type that into the chat box. Okay, do you want to translate before we start?
Oke, kalian diminta untuk menemukan verb dari beberapa kalimat yang sudah dicantumkan sama Mr. Darren di situ. Silahkan dituliskan di kolom chat box. Oke?
Okay,
First
so let's
sentence
look
ya,
at
Mr.
number
Darren.
1. Studying TOEFL is a lot of fun. What's the verb? Okay, we've got lots of studying. Some studying. Wow, loads of too many answers. Is, lots of is now. Okay, I'm just going to go to the answer. Scroll down through those messages in a moment. For the first one, studying TOEFL is the subject. Studying is not the verb here. Your verb is. So if you put is, well done. Number 2, I love studying TOEFL.
Oke, nomor 2 kira-kira verbnya yang mana?
Lovely. I've got lots and lots and lots of love. And love is correct. Well done. This time, I is the subject. Your verb is love. And studying this time is part of your object, studying TOEFL. Then we've got number 3. I have been studying TOEFL to improve my score. What's the verb?
Oke, nomor 3. Mana yang verb?
And now we've got
Ya,
quite a bit of have been studying.
To improve.
All right, let's break it down and have a look. This time, well done if you put have been studying. Your subject is I. This time we have a long verb, have been and studying, all parts of your verb. TOEFL is the object, and then we have an infinitive of purpose here, to improve my score. Final one, the students studying TOEFL are very diligent. What's the verb?
Yang terakhir menurut kalian verbnya yang mana?
We've got
There's so
lots and
many
lots of R's. So let's check. Well done, everybody. This time the students is our subject. Studying TOEFL here is just a participle phrase, and then you've got your verb, are. Well done. The point I want to make here is something the TOEFL test does a lot is to put words in the sentence that look like they could be your main verb, okay, when in fact they're not. And point number 1 is verb ing, or the present participle, cannot be your main verb without some form of the verb to be. It has to be working with the form of the verb to be, like is, am, are, was, been, whatever. As long as be is there working with the verb ing, then you're making a continuous tense. Without it, if it's just verb ing, it's not working as a verb. So let's take a look at these 3 sentence fragments, really, just the beginning of sentences. And all I want to know, each time you've got a verb ing, is it a verb? Yes or no? So number one, they will be holding. Is holding part of your verb?
Oke, boleh dibantu jawab teman-teman kira-kira menurut kalian di kalimat yang pertama itu part of the verb atau bukan? They will be holding.
And I'm getting overwhelming yeses, so let's check. Absolutely right. We've got the verb to be, we've got will be holding. It's the future continuous, it's verb. Number two, he was always telling. Telling, is that part of the verb here?
Oke, apakah telling termasuk verb?
Again, lots of yeses. Awesome job. Well done, everybody. You're absolutely right. It is a verb. Here we've got an annoying word between the verb to be and verb ing. But yeah, we've got the verb to be, we've got verb ing. This is making it past continuous. Finally, we've got number three. The man watching TV. Is watching part of the verb? Could it be part of the verb? No, 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 no. Well done. I'm impressed. Absolutely. There's no verb to be here. So watching is not a verb. It's just describing the man, telling us which man we're talking about. Great job. I'm going to move straight on to the test question. Don't be scared.
Oke, can I summarize a bit, Mr. Darren?
Absolutely.
Oke, jadi yang berusaha disampaikan sama Mr. Darren di sini adalah hati-hati karena kebanyakan dari soal TOEFL yang akan kalian temukan dari tes yang pertama tadi kita lakukan untuk menemukan verb. Kadang di beberapa soal yang akan kalian temukan itu verbnya mungkin akan tricky di kalian. Kalau misalnya kalian tadi kan ada beberapa yang mungkin agak apa sih ketipu ketipu tentang verb plus ing itu akhirnya bisa dijadikan verb kalian. Itu ada sedikit rumusnya bahwa verb plus ing itu nggak bisa jadi main verbnya kalian kecuali di situ ada form verb to be-nya. Jadi kayak misalnya di contoh kalimat yang satu nomor dua itu di situ ada diikuti oleh verb to be, they will be holding sama he was always telling, makanya di situ dia bisa jadi verb. Kecuali yang kalimat nomor tiga akhirnya di situ nggak bisa jadi verbnya kalian meskipun di situ ada ing-nya. Jadi kalian harus hati-hati bahwa untuk bisa menentukan verbnya itu meskipun ada verb plus ing itu harus diikuti dengan verb to be. Oke? Back to you, Mr. Darren.
Okay, thank you. Here's just a practice question. Again, it's from a genuine TOEFL test. Remember what to do. Just read the sentence and decide which underlined part is incorrect, A, B, C, or D.
Silakan ditemukan, dibaca dulu kalimatnya dengan lengkap. Kira-kira menurut kalian mana jawaban yang salah menurut kalian?
Wow, this one's trickier. You can tell it's from a real test, can't you?
Ya, DAC.
Lots of D's, A's, and C's, so nobody's going for B. Okay. All right, well, let's have a look at the sentence. There's lots and lots of words here that look like they might be verbs. So we've got falling, reduce, breaking, calming. But all of these verb ings, none of them are verbs because there is no verb to be. So that would make reduce your main verb. And that seems okay. We've got raindrops falling on the ocean, reduce the number of breaking waves. Thereby, calming, meaning to make something calmer, roughness water. The correct answer here is actually, oh, hold on, let me check the last 9. Okay, still more C's. Oh, we got a B there. Well done. The correct answer is D. Roughness is a noun. Okay, when I was talking a long time ago about parts of speech, when they use a noun instead of an adjective or an adjective instead of an adverb, something like that. This is an example of it here. Roughness is a noun, but it's supposed to be describing water. So D, in fact, should be rough. Okay, the rest of this sentence is fine. It just looks strange because of all of these present participles, falling, breaking, and calming. but they're all there for a reason. They're not verbs, so you don't need to worry about matching them up with a subject or anything like that. Let's look at what they're doing. Raindrops is your main subject. Falling on the ocean is a participle phrase describing the raindrops, telling you which raindrops we're talking about. Then you've got your verb, reduce, the number of breaking waves. Here, this what looks like a verb, this verb ing, is again just a present participle describing the waves. Which waves are we talking about? Okay, and then we've got thereby calming rough water. Calming is what they're doing. So again, we've got this participle clause now, just telling you what these raindrops are doing, and everything's fine except for D. Tough question. Farid, do you want to try and translate that? Or do you want to move on?
Mungkin poinnya aja ya teman-teman ya. Jadi again kalau misalnya teman-teman masih ada tadi kan jawaban yang paling sering muncul adalah D, A sama C. Again A sama C itu bukan verbnya kalian karena dari yang tercantum di situ tidak ada verb to be-nya untuk dia bisa dinyatakan sebagai verb gitu ya. Tadi udah dijelaskan juga oleh Mr. Darren kenapa akhirnya roughness itu jadi main verbnya kalian. Jadi kalau misalnya kalian sekali lagi harus hati-hati ketika kalian ngelihat ada verb plus ing di situ, kalian harus perhatikan kalau misalnya verb plus ing-nya bisa diikutin oleh verb to be, maka di situ bisa dinyatakan sebagai main verbnya kalian. Tapi karena di kalimat ini tidak ada verb to be-nya, maka di situ tidak bisa dinyatakan sebagai verb. Oke? Back to you, Mr. Darren.
Okay, thank you. Now get ready. This is the trickiest part. Okay. We've learned that verb ing has to work with the verb to be if it's a verb. Something similar happens with the past participle, which most of you guys call verb 3. Again, here, the verb 3 cannot be your main verb unless it's working with either to be or to have. Okay. If it's working with the verb to be, it's making the passive. And if it's working with to have, it's making the perfect aspect. But it needs one of those with it. So if it's just verb 3 on its own, then it's not a verb. Before I make it even more confusing, let's just do what we did with one. Have a look at these beginnings of sentences and decide if your verb 3 is part of the verb. Do I need to translate or move on? Can I keep going? I'm going to keep going. All right. Let's look at the first one. The dog has eaten the cake, which... Now, eaten is your verb 3. Is that part of the verb? Yes or no? And I'm getting all yeses. Absolutely, well done. We've got has with your eaten, so it's making it the perfect. So here you've just got a sentence in the present perfect. The next one, the cake eaten by the dog was... What about that one? And this time it's like a river of no's. Well done. And again, you're absolutely right. Here we have a was, but it's far away from this verb 3 and it's working with the subject, the cake. Eaten by the dog is just a participle clause, and it's a participle phrase, and it's describing the cake that we're talking about. So well done. And finally, the cake was eaten by my dog. Yes or no? Yes. Awesome. I said this was tricky, and you're flying through it. You're absolutely right. We've got was with your eaten, which is making it passive, meaning it was the dog doing the verb to the subject. So that was easy. Why did I say it was tricky? The main reason it's tricky is that most verbs, verb 2 and verb 3, are the same. And it's perfectly okay to have verb 2 alone. Then it can be your main verb. All right. So it's easy to spot if it's an irregular verb where verb 3 is different, and it's more difficult if it's a regular verb where verb 2 and verb 3 are the same. I'm going to look at an example now. The verb that's in the example could be verb 2 or verb 3. So look at the sentence and you decide. Farid, you might want to translate that.
Oke, seperti yang dijelaskan sama Mr. Darren, ini kayaknya teman-teman juga udah cukup paham dengan apa yang dijelaskan sama Mr. Darren. Sekali lagi kalian perlu perhatikan aja ya, note hijau yang ada di atas untuk bisa menemukan verbnya kalian. Dan dari yang sudah disampaikan sama Mr. Darren di bawah, menurut kalian mana jawaban yang menurut kalian benar? A, B, C, or D?
Okay. And we're getting 95% C. Excuse me. If you put C, well done. Absolutely right. Iron was generally used for weapons. But let's look at this sentence and look at how you should approach it if you're doing the test. The first thing, if you just read through, we've got iron for weapons and tools in the Bronze Age following the Stone Age. We have a subject and we don't have any verb in this whole sentence. So we know that we need a verb. Now, it looks, when you first look at it, like every one of these options has a verb. And if used is verb to, all of them could be your main verb. But if you look at B and D and just use used on its own, iron generally used. Well, iron's not using anything. You know, iron can't be using something. Someone else must be using the iron. Okay, so it can't be verb to. And what you need is the verb to be working with verb 3 to make the passive. Therefore, you should end up with two choices, A or C. And because A is present, it can't be right because the Bronze Age was a long, long, long time ago. So you've got to use C with the past. Okay, let me just check the chat box. Okay, no questions. If you have questions, by the way, feel free to type them in now, and we'll either answer them as we go or save them until the end. But feel free to type questions in if you have them.
Oke, kalau misalnya
Okay.
teman-teman kebingungan dengan apa yang dijelaskan atau materi pagi hari ini, bisa langsung tuliskan pertanyaannya di kolom chat box ya, teman-teman ya. Jadi nanti kalau misalnya Mr. Darren ngecek kolom chat boxnya kalian, kalian ada pertanyaan, nanti akan bisa langsung dijawab sama Mr. Darren, oke?
Okay. Moving away from that really tricky, weird bit. Oh, sorry, I should just summarize first. The present participle, which we call verb ing, cannot be your main verb without the verb to be. And verb 3, the past participle, cannot be your main verb without either the verb to be or the verb to have. But just be careful, make sure that it is verb 3 that you're looking at and they're not just using a regular verb 2.
Oke. Jadi bisa benar-benar diperhatikan ya teman-teman ya untuk verb things. Again, kalau misalnya kalian nemuin present participle verb ing, cannot be your main, jadi nggak bisa jadi main verbnya kalian kalau nggak ada verb to be. Tapi kalau misalnya past participle verb t itu nggak, verb three itu nggak bisa jadi main verbnya kalian tanpa verb to be dan verb to have. Tapi kalian juga harus perhatikan kalau misalnya di situ ada verb to-nya aja, again kalian harus pertimbangkan lagi jawabannya seperti apa. Oke? Back to you,
Just
Mr.
before I
Darren.
move on, we've got one question about one of the earlier sentences, so I'm just going to go back
Yeah.
to it. If I can, without my mouse. Oh, there we go. Oh, sorry, I've gone too far. There we are. This question here. The question was, what's the correct answer for roughness? Why is roughness wrong? Roughness is wrong because it's a noun. And what we want here is an adjective, because you want a word to describe the water, to talk about which water is being calmed. Therefore, because we need an adjective, the word should be rough. Rough is your adjective, roughness is the noun.
Yosi, semoga menjawab ya.
And we have another question. In what condition, when is the word to followed by verb ing? There are a few examples. It's not common, which is why we're so used to seeing the word to followed by verb 1. Some examples include phrasal verb, one or two phrasal verbs. The one I can think of right now is look forward to. So if you use look forward to, meaning you're excited about something coming in the future, then it's followed by verb ing. I look forward to meeting you. I'm looking forward to going on holiday, that sort of thing. There are others. The one that we had was devote something to learning. Addicted to is another example. I'm addicted to shopping. I'm addicted to playing games, that sort of thing. There are quite a few like that. And Usually it's because to is part of the phrase before the gerund, basically before the verb ing. So we're used to seeing to in verb one, where that's the infinitive and it's working together to make what we call the infinitive. If you have phrases which have to as part of it, like look forward to or devote some time to, then you're not, that to is part of the earlier phrase, the earlier construction, and then it just happens to be followed by a gerund, which is verb ing. It's not that to and verb ing are a thing together, if you see what I mean. Good luck translating that, Farid.
Oke, Natisha, semoga menjawab pertanyaannya kapan akhirnya penggunaan word to is followed by verb ing tadi juga sudah sempat dijelaskan oleh Mr. Darren. Ini teman-teman kalau misalnya ada pertanyaan lagi bisa langsung ditanyakan aja di kolom chat box sambil kita nge-run through materi dari Mr. Darren ya. Back to you, Mr. Darren.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let me move on. I've got one thing in the chat box that I'll just check, but let's move on to the next point. The next point is agreement. And when I talk about agreement here, I'm talking about your subject and your verb matching and agreeing. And by that, I mean singular with plural. So I think everyone here knows, I would say, I work at EF, but I would say my friend works at EF and my friends work at EF. Okay, so making sure that your subject and your verb agree. And 99% of the time in the TOEFL, it's just about plural and singular. So you guys have been very, very good so far with your instincts. So I'm just going to tell you to have a look at these sentences and just decide if they're correct or incorrect. Okay, let's start with the top one. The Prime Minister always eats at 6 p.m. If you think it's correct, type yes. If you think it's wrong, type no. Okay, wow, I'm getting loads and loads and loads, and they're all saying, most of them are saying yes, actually, not all of them, but most of them. If we have a look at it, we've got the subject, which is Prime Minister, and it's singular, and we've got the verb eats, which is singular. It is correct. It's fine. Let's look at number 2. The Prime Minister and his wife always eats at 6 p.m. Now, correct or no? Very, very good. Everybody's saying no, incorrect. Some people are even correcting it and using eat, which is absolutely right. Well done. So now we've got a bigger subject, and it's more than one. It's the Prime Minister and his wife. So 2 people, plural. So we need a plural verb, eat. Well done. And the last one, number 3. The Prime Minister, accompanied by his wife, always eats at 6 p.m. How about now? Yes or no? Okay, and again, it's mostly yeses. Some no's. This one's more of a mix because it's a more difficult question. It looks very, very similar to the second one. So you think, well, it should be eat. However, your subject here is the Prime Minister. You'll see accompanied by his wife is broken off by commas. This is just extra information. Okay, it's not making part of your subject. Therefore, you've got a single subject, Prime Minister. You need a single verb, eats. It is correct. Okay. All right, Farid, can I move on?
Yep.
Okay. I saw 1 or 2 questions about kind of random things earlier, so we'll try and answer those at the end if we have time. Okay. The last thing I want to do is talk about these words, single words and plural words. They're just words that always go with single things or plural things. So a, an, another, this, and that always have a singular meaning, and they should never refer to plurals. On the flip side, you've got few, many, these, those, and several. They're always plural, and they can't refer to either single or uncountable nouns. Okay. I hope that's clear. So I'm going to move on to your test. Don't be afraid. It's a very short test. All I wanted to tell me is the sentence correct? Passing the TOEFL test will make you a happy people. Yes or no? We got mostly no, some yeses, mostly no. Okay, about 80% no. It is indeed incorrect because of people. People is a tricky word sometimes. People often think of it as singular. It's not. People is plural. The singular opposite is person. So either you could say passing the TOEFL test will make you happy people, if I'm talking to lots of people, or if I'm talking to one person, it would be passing the TOEFL test will make you a happy person. Okay, well done. If you got no, let's have a look at number 2. Let's have a party after this is all finished. Yes or no? And lots of yeses. Absolutely. Oh, some no's at the end. Okay, sorry. It is yes. It's an absolutely fine sentence. Here we've got this, which is singular, working with is, which is singular, and that's fine. All can be either singular or plural. Okay. If you're talking about one thing, all means all of that one thing. If you're talking about many things, then all means all of those many things. Okay. Let's look at the last one before we go on. These tips are more useful than another ones. Yes or no? Mostly no, some yeses in there as well. Okay. I'll tell you right now, it's wrong. Why is it wrong? Because we've got ones. Ones is plural and another is singular. So you can't use another with ones. You can use another with the word one, okay, but not with ones. So it should be, these tips are more useful than other ones. Okay. I did see a question about the difference between another and other. So I'll just quickly try and explain. I believe, I might be wrong, I don't know this, but I think that another used to be 2 words. I think so. Just the word an and other. Okay, because other just means different. And, it could be referring to single things, it could be referring to plural things. But when you put an with it, just think of it like that, and other ones. And we know that an can only work with singular ones. So when you use the word another, you're talking about one thing. When you use the word other, you're usually talking about more than one thing, although it can also be used with singulars.
Oke, tadi siapa yang sempat tanya ya perbedaan antara another sama other tadi semoga menjawab teman-teman. Jangan dijelaskan tentang Mr. Darren, tapi tadi kan Mr. Darren sempat ngasih note mungkin aja apa yang dijelaskan sama Mr. Darren benar, tapi kurang lebih penjelasannya seperti itu. Oke?
Okay. And that's pretty much all my tips. So here's the final test. It's a little bit scary. Just do what you did before, A, B, C, or D. Okay. Hold on. Okay, we'll do.
From Agung.
Just a question from Agung. I'll answer that one after this test when we finish
Okay.
this bit. It's very short. This, don't worry. Here's your question. It's a bit scary, so there's a scary face. Read through it, be careful, and just choose A, B, C, or D.
Agung nanti dijawab ya pertanyaannya ya. Teman-teman bisa coba ngejawab tes terakhirnya dulu dari Mr. Darren, silakan di kolom chat box.
Okay. Not a lot of answers, but they're all answering C at the moment. And now everyone's coming in with C. One or two
D.
Ds.
Yeah.
Okay, so C's and D's. Oh, we got a B now as well.
B.
It's nice to have a mix. I'm just waiting for an A, but there's not one coming. So let's go through. Excuse me, let me move that. The correct answer is C. Well done, most of you. If you put C, congratulations. Well done. So why is C wrong? Well, you need to first of all find your subject. And it's difficult in a long sentence like this. And it's something that TOEFL does a lot, which is try and confuse you by putting lots of stuff between the subject and the verb. So here, your subject is, sorry, I've just got to pop up. There we go. International specialization. Okay, and it's singular. Therefore, your verb should have the S, increases. Okay, all of this bit in the production of some goods, such as cars and computers, is just giving you more information about specialization. So the first thing you need to do is be sure you've isolated your subject and you know where your subject is. Okay.
Jadi hal ini yang biasanya dilakukan di tes TOEFL teman-teman. Kalian akan dibuat kebingungan dengan kalimat yang panjang seperti ini karena untuk menentukan subjeknya sendiri bagaimana. Tadi sempat di-mention sama Mr. Darren bahwa untuk mempermudah kalian temukan dulu subjeknya yang mana. Jadi nanti kalian akan bisa menganalisa kira-kira mana kata-kata yang salah dari ini. Dari jawabannya dari kalimat yang ini itu increase karena harusnya tambahin S di belakangnya dari subjek yang sudah ditemukan. Oke?
Okay. I just got one or two more questions. Sorry, somebody just said they thought the subject was economists, which is easy to do because it's the first thing that looks like a subject in your sentence. But you've got this present participle here, and this is just a participle phrase giving you more information, and it's blocked off here by a comma. There is no verb here. It's just a participle phrase giving you more information. This is where your sentence actually really starts. Okay. Your next one is much shorter.
Faiza, semoga menjawab ya.
And we're getting lots of C's. In fact, only C's, I think. So I will stop it there and just show you. Bing! Absolutely right. Well done, everybody. We've got plural here, kinds of music, and therefore you can't use a with it. Okay. So it really should be among the first kinds of music. All right. Well done. And one more. What about this one? A, B, C, or D? And again, we've got lots of C's. In fact, I think it's all C's. So let's just check the answer. Bing! Congratulations. Well done, everybody. Why is this wrong? Well, because this is not the subject. Okay, so this is singular or uncountable, but it's not the subject for this verb. Your subject is over here, areas. Therefore, it's plural. So attract shouldn't have the S on it. Okay, well done for getting that. Very good. If you got 3 out of 3, by the way, you've passed my mini TOEFL test for you. The real test's a bit harder, though.
Okay.
Okay. You don't need to translate that, do you? Hold on. What about the subject that use collective nouns? Do you mean like the one that always comes in my mind is like a murder of crows or a herd of cattle. If the collective noun is singular, you use singular. So, for example, I'm trying to think of one in the present simple. All right, it's a very odd sentence, but the herd of cows moves down the road. Okay, the herd of cows moves down the road is correct. Having said that, by the way, a lot of the time especially sort of less formal, so not TOEFL, when speaking especially, it's up to you which you choose. When you have words which can be looked at either as singular or plural. Some examples of this: team, the word team. The team have done a great job is fine. You're looking at all the people in the team. Or you can say the team has done a great job, and you're looking at the team as a single entity. So technically, with TOEFL grammar, because the collective noun is singular, you should use singular. However, especially when you're speaking and just using normal English, it's often up to you, and it depends what you want to get across in your meaning, really. For example, if I say the team have done a great job, the team, every individual member in that team feels a bit better because you're looking at all of them. If I say the team has done a great job, it's looking less at them as individuals and looking at the whole team. Is that confusing? Farid, can you try and explain that clearly?
I don't think I can. But
Okay.
Arif, mungkin kamu benar-benar bisa memperhatikan apa yang dijelaskan sama Mister Darren tadi. Semoga menjawab juga pertanyaannya Arif. Atau kalau misalnya masih bingung, mungkin Arif mau menambahkan pertanyaan atau sanggahan dari apa yang dijelaskan sama Mister Darren. Yeah, Arif can get
Okay.
the idea quite clearly, Mister
Okay,
Darren.
great.
So I don't need to translate that.
Thank you, Aaron. There were one or two other questions that I think I missed, and I was trying to scroll up, but there were just so many A's and C's and B's that I won't find them.
I can mention the Agung questions, I think.
Yes, what was it?
Agung said that I still confused about accompanied. There is the word for addition sentence. Is there any words for addition sentence?
Okay.
Yes, I
I'm
have to
not
use there.
Just let me go back to where that sentence was. I'm not quite sure what you mean with the addition bit, but we'll go back and look at this sentence. So I assume you mean this one, the Prime Minister accompanied by his wife,
accompanied
always
by his
eats at
wife,
6
yeah.
p.m. I'm not sure what you meant by the addition, but I'll just talk about why this is singular. If you look at the top one, the Prime Minister always eats at 6 p.m. This is very clearly singular and singular. Okay, but then when we add something to the subject, and notice here it's the Prime Minister and his wife all together. Okay, that makes it plural. My friend and I, that would be plural. Here, this sentence is basically exactly the same as the first one. It's just that I've added some information, which is, by the way, his wife also eats with him. Okay, and I've put that in to the sentence just to give extra information. It's not part of your subject, and you can tell it's not part of your subject because of the punctuation, because of the commas. Okay, if you see, and this is another useful thing for some of the TOEFL questions, especially the longer sentences. When you see the sentence like this with bits chopped off by commas, clauses chopped off by commas, you can generally take them out of the sentence and to help you find your main clause and to help you find your subject. So here, if you take this out, it's fine. The Prime Minister always eats at 6 p.m. This is just extra information. It could equally be the Prime Minister, who is always happy, always eats at 6 p.m. This could be any extra information about the Prime Minister. And it's the commas that tells you additional information, by the way.
Oke, jadi aku ambil notnya dari apa yang disampaikan Mas Darren. Agung, semoga menjawab pertanyaannya. Kalau misalnya itu memang yang kamu maksud, tapi ini mungkin secara general, kalau misalnya kalian melihat contoh kalimat yang kayak kalimat yang terakhir itu, kalian lihat ada kalimat yang mungkin dipisahkan dengan koma, di situ kalian bisa take out aja. Again, kalimat yang di tengah itu cuma informasi tambahan aja. Padahal poin intinya meskipun itu nggak ada ya, the Prime Minister always eats at 6 p.m. anyway gitu loh. Itu cuma informasi tambahan aja yang bisa kalian temukan di bacaan tersebut, oke? Back to you, Mr. Darren.
All right. Good. Thank you, Agun. Excuse me. That's all from me, unless we have other questions very quickly.
Okay, last questions maybe for Yosi Simanjuntak, Mr. Darren, before I present other things before we close the class today.
Okay, we've got one here. I got low score for this task because I think is plus verb ing is wrong. So can you tell me when the is plus verb ing is wrong? Is it just because that word isn't followed with a verb? Is there any particular sentence that you got wrong because of this? Because I'm not quite sure what you mean. Let me go back through some of them.
Yosi, mungkin kamu tadi sempat punya contoh mana yang kamu masih bingung atau salah dari penggunaan verbingnya.
So was it
Apakah
these ones
pertanyaannya ini
here?
relate dengan ketika kamu mau menemukan main verbnya atau gimana kira-kira?
Okay, no worries. Just going from your question, is and verb ing is not wrong. Is and verb ing is making the present continuous tense. So the point is, I guess, not that one of them is necessarily wrong. You know, when you see falling here without the verb to be, it doesn't mean it's wrong. What it means is it's not working as a verb. Okay, it's a present participle giving you an extra information. It's here, falling on the ocean is telling you which raindrops you're talking about. Okay, so it's not that it's wrong. It just means that it's not a verb. And when you've got the verb to be, like with is and verb ing, that's absolutely fine. It's just the present continuous. Did I have an is one? Let me see. No, I don't remember any with is. I'm sorry.
Iya.
But yeah, if you see is with verb ing, it's just the present continuous tense. It's absolutely fine. It's not wrong.
Yosi semoga menjawab ya. Ini bukan maksudnya si kata itu salah, tapi untuk menentukan ini konteksnya kita menentukan verbnya di kalimat yang ini. Karena memang si falling itu tidak diikuti dengan verb to be, maka di situ tidak bisa dikatakan atau diputuskan sebagai dia verb utamanya. Karena kalau untuk bisa menjadi verb utamanya dia harus verb plus ing itu harus ada verb to be-nya, diikuti dengan verb to be-nya maka dia bisa dinyatakan sebagai verb utamanya dia. Karena memang di sini tadi kan kita mau cari kira-kira mana yang salah. Otomatis kita harus menemukan verbnya dulu di contoh kalimat yang ini karena memang si falling dan calming itu tidak diikuti dengan verb to be secara kata-kata dia tidak salah tapi karena dia tidak ada verb to be-nya maka dia tidak bisa dikatakan verb tidak bisa diputuskan sebagai verb oke.
Okay. Last one here is why is hold on. Why is and are can be a verb? It's not that is and are can be a verb. Is and are always verbs. Okay, they're always verbs. They're just forms of the verb to be. So the verb to be is a weird verb. It has many different forms. So in the present tense, it would be is or am or are. And in the past tense, it's usually was or were. But it's always a verb. It's always a verb. The confusing thing, I think, with the verb to be is sometimes it's your main verb. So I am a teacher. Am is my main verb. But they can also be used as someone's mentioned here, as auxiliary verbs, as helping verbs, as something added to your main verb. So if I say I am a teacher, am is the main verb. If I say I am watching TV, your main verb is am watching. And here am is your auxiliary verb, and it's just helping to make the present continuous tense with your main verb watch. Okay? I hope that's clear. It doesn't sound
Semoga
clear to me,
menjawab
but
ya. Semoga menjawab teman-teman yang tadi masih kebingungan kenapa is and are itu akhirnya bisa jadi verb. Tadi sudah sempat dijelaskan sama Mr. Darren. Oke, kalau misalnya teman-teman masih ada pertanyaan disimpan dulu aja. Again, kita mengucapkan terima kasih dulu untuk teman-teman yang sudah ikut kelasnya pagi hari ini. Kita akan ada kelas lanjutannya teman-teman. Jadi setelah ini kita akan kasih tahu informasinya. Teman-teman bisa langsung daftar aja kelasnya bulan depan setelah Lebaran. Jadi kalau misalnya setelah Lebaran teman-teman masih belum ada kegiatan, teman-teman juga bisa langsung ikut aja. Tapi untuk materi pagi hari ini seperti yang sudah kita sampaikan bahwa kalian bisa mendapatkan materi dan juga e-certificate dari kegiatan hari ini yang akan kita kirimkan melalui email aktifnya kalian. Jadi kalian nanti bisa langsung submit email dan juga nama atau apapun itu nanti yang dibutuhkan di dalam formnya. Dan untuk kalian yang mungkin ada di area wilayah Jawa Timur, Bali, dan Lombok, kalau misalnya kalian butuh seperti kelas persiapan TOEFL atau kelas persiapan IELTS atau mungkin untuk anak-anaknya kalian, kalau misalnya di sini ada beberapa dari kalian yang mungkin sudah punya putra atau putri, pengen ikut kelas singkat aja, pengen ngerasain belajar di IF itu sebenarnya seperti apa. Nanti akan ada program khusus liburan namanya Holiday Academy, di mana kelasnya hanya akan berjalan selama 2 minggu dan harganya cuma 1 jutaan. Jadi kalau misalnya di sini ada yang mungkin tertarik untuk mendaftarkan putra-putrinya atau untuk ponakannya atau mungkin untuk adiknya supaya tahu kelas di IF itu serunya seperti apa, kalian nanti bisa langsung isi di form untuk klaim e-sertifikatnya kalian. Kalau misalnya kalian mau dihubungi lebih lanjut untuk ditawarkan produk-produk dari IF atau mungkin kalian pengen tahu lebih lanjut produk-produk yang sesuai sama kalian, seperti misalnya kelas persiapan TOEFL atau kelas persiapan IELTS. Oke, nanti linknya akan cantumkan di kolom chat box oleh tim dari IF untuk kalian bisa klaim sertifikat sekaligus untuk ngambil fasilitas gratis dari IF untuk bisa ikut English Diagnostics Test, di mana kalian juga bisa langsung analisa kemampuan bahasa Inggrisnya kalian termasuk grammar ataupun sampai ke speakingnya kalian. Oke? Dan seperti yang sudah aku sampaikan bahwa tanggal 27 April atau bulan depan kita akan masih bareng sama Mr. Darren tentang TOEFL juga. Jadi kita akan ada lanjutannya. Kita akan pindah ke reading section. Kira-kira seperti apa kalian mengerjakan tipsnya nanti. Jadi kalian bisa langsung keep seatnya kalian supaya kalian tidak ketinggalan kelasnya seperti apa. Nanti kita akan kirim link konfirmasinya lagi beberapa hari sebelum acaranya mulai. Dan kalian bisa langsung daftar nanti di link yang sudah ada di kolom chat box nanti oleh eh, tim dari IF ya teman-teman ya. Itu sudah dicantumkan juga untuk klaim e-sertifikatnya kalian atau kalau misalnya kalian mau scan barcode, kalian bisa langsung scan barcode-nya aja yang ada di layar ini. Oke? Mr. Darren, is there anything else you want to say before we close the class?
I just want to say thank you, everybody, for coming, and good luck with your TOEFL test. Thank you.
Oke, sekali lagi terima kasih banyak teman-teman dan ya materinya akan kita kirimkan melalui email aktifnya kalian. Jadi ketika kalian scan dan isi data diri di situ pastikan kalian menuliskan nama lengkap dan juga email aktif kalian dengan benar karena kita akan kirimkan materi pagi hari ini beserta dengan e-sertifikatnya melalui email aktif kalian masing-masing. Oke, thank you so much sekali lagi teman-teman, sampai ketemu lagi bulan depan. Thank you so much Mr. Darren for the tips. We will see you again next month. Okay?
Absolutely.
Terima
Thanks,
kasih
guys.
semuanya. Have a great weekend. Untuk yang berpuasa, selamat menjalankan ibadah puasa. Yang tidak puasa, jangan rebutan takjil nanti sore ya. Bye-bye.